Shalom. Okay, welcome to another episode of Sweka Sharpie 2. My name is Priest Brother Tuar Bakar. I have reading for me in the background.
Raise my shot.
Khan. So basically, we'd like to say to the brothers and sisters out there keeping the high holy day, first fruits Pentecost. I say shalom to y'all brothers out there that's keeping the high holy days, picnics, wherever you're located at, in the spirit of the Most High while you're Howard shot. All right, brother, a couple weeks ago had emailed me and requested me to do a video on St. John's, the first chapter, okay, with the doctrine being taught that God and Christ are the same, all right, and in essence saying that Christ is the Heavenly Father. And you got a lot of these churches and Christians out there that are basically teaching such, all right. So the brother, this is going to be a massive multi-part series, Lord's willing, going into the scriptures concerning this, because the brother had pulled out some scriptures that he wanted me to address, and we want to address some of these scriptures. And the first one we're going to get into will be the book of St. John's, the first chapter and the first verse, with the understanding of it. All right. And basically, for the next 45 minutes or so, I'm just basically going to teach on St. John's 1 and 1. All right. That's how I'm going to open up the spirit. The brother Masha and I are going to open up on this multi-part series of God and Christ. Okay. The relationship that the Most High and Yahweh Shah Christ have with one another, and how does it compare to men on earth and the nation of Israel in general. All right, so this is just basically going to be St. John's 1 and 1. All right, this is how he's going to open up for this part, and Lord's willing, we're going to film again another couple weeks or so, and basically break down other scriptures and other volumes that we're going to do. So the brother Marshall, please read the book of St. John, chapter 1, verse 1.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Right, so it says in the beginning was the Word. So this is in the New Testament. So for you Christians out there that are basically not minding the Old Testament, this cuts you right here. One of many scriptures that cuts you right here. It's a simple fact that John the Baptist, okay, or excuse me, not John the Baptist, but John the Revelator, or John himself, went into in the beginning. Okay, in the beginning. All right, so that goes to show you. Now, what was in the beginning? Hold that. Give me St. John chapter 1, verse 1, because the beginning, it represents the 6 days of creation. Okay, the 6 days of creation during the Most High's existence, in correlation with the planets being formed and the earth mainly. All right, so we got to go into Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, because John said in the beginning. Okay, so let's go into in the beginning. All right,
Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
So we read St. John chapter 1, verse 1, when it states about in the beginning, it goes back to Genesis. All right, it goes to Genesis 1 and 1 in the Torah. It says, in the beginning, God, which when you go into the Hebrew, is Allahayim, or which some will pronounce as Elohim, created the heaven and the earth. And Allahayim or Elohim is plural. All right, plural. All right, meaning there's multiple gods. In essence, is one and true living God, but there's powers that the Lord have created. In the time of creation, they created the earth. And we're going to go more into detail as we read on, because Allahayim is powers, it's plural. All right, although in the English text it's singular in reference of God. So read it again, Art.
Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Right, so this is what John was referring to. So go back to St. John chapter 1, verse 1.
St.
Right?
John 1 and 1.
Read.
In the beginning was the Word.
Right, see, now we understand that in the beginning was the Word. All right, so when we read Genesis 1 and 1, it says in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. So now we understand that the Word is God, or Allahayim. We're going to continue reading on. Read on, Art.
All right, and the Word was with God.
All right, so now it says the Word was with God. So we read Genesis 1 and 1, it just mentioned God. It didn't mention anything of a word. But now John is breaking it down. The gospel according to John, he's breaking it down when it says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. Now we understand that the Allahayim represent the Word and God. Because or the Elohim. The Elohim or the Allahayim represents the Word and God. Okay, in Genesis 1 and 1. Because when you go into the Hebrew, it's plural text. Read on.
And the Word was God.
Now it says the Word was God. So that's why when Moses wrote Genesis 1 and 1, he just put God created the heavens and the earth. Now we understand through John that God is the Word and God. So because we go to Hebrew, we understand that it's Allahayim or Elohim, which is plural. Okay, so now we understand that the Allahayim represents the Word and God. And the Word was God. That's why Moses just wrote God. But we know the text of that Moses wrote, there was a plural text of God. So the understanding is it was God's. Okay, it was God's on the earth. All right. So read it again. St. John's 1:1.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Right. So go to Psalm chapter 102, verse 25. Okay. Let's get the book of Psalms, the 102nd chapter and the 25th verse concerning this.
Psalms 102,
Verse
and
25.
25.
Read on.
Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth.
Right. So read verse 24. Start from verse 24 up.
Verse 24. I said, oh my God, take me not away in the midst of my days.
So David is asking the Lord, okay, and when you read Psalms 102nd chapter, all right, or the Psalms 101, it says a Psalm of David, because there's certain men out there that's teaching that David didn't write nothing over Psalms, the 72nd chapter, but the Bible cuts that through the scripture, all right? This is a Psalm of David, or the Psalm of the afflicted. Read Psalms 102, verse 24.
I said, oh my God, take me not away in the midst of my days.
So David is praying to the Most High not to take him in the midst of his days. And none of us want to die before in the midst of our days. Meaning like when we middle age. Because the average man on this earth lives between 70 to 100 years old. That's how it's supposed to be after the death of Adam, when men's life expectancy became shorter. So the average lifespan is supposed to be between 70 to 100 years of age. All right. So David's asking not to be taken in the midst of his days, meaning probably like when he's in his 30s. All right. Because usually in our 30s is when we really start to enjoy life and really get the sense of well-being as a man. So David's asking not to be killed in his 30s, or basically in the midst of his time, in the height of his life. Because when you're in your mid-30s, that's when you're basically in the middle of your life. All right. That's why it's called middle age. When you're about 35 to 40, you're in the midst of your life. And David asked not to be taken away from that. That's why he lived to be 70 years old, because the Lord heard his prayer on that. Read on.
Thy years are throughout all generations.
The Lord said the years are all throughout all generations. I mean, the Lord has appointed time for every single generation on this earth to live. Read on.
Of old that has laid the foundation of the earth.
The Lord said of old, David said of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth. So now this is going back to Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, when David's speaking about the foundations of the earth being laid. Read on.
And the heavens are the work of thy hands.
Right, the heavens are the work of thy hands. Okay, what you see in the sky, that's the work of God's hands. Read on.
Verse 26, they shall perish, but thou shalt endure.
So everything is going to perish, but the Lord shall endure. Okay, in essence, the Lord will always be there. He has no beginning or end. The earth and everything that you see will be destroyed before the Lord is. Read on.
All of them shall wax old like a garment.
Right, and it's speaking of man too. Man is going to perish and they're going to wax old like a garment, because every year that we live, we get older. Read on.
As a vesture shall thy change them, and they shall be changed.
Right, because when we get older, we start changing in appearance. We start getting weaker. Read on.
But I are the same.
But the Lord said he stays the same. Despite the fact that men get older, the Lord stays the same. Okay, though men get older, they start getting wrinkled, they start getting weaker, especially around their 60s and 70s. The Lord said he remains the same despite the fact that he's older than men. Read on.
And thy years shall have no end.
Read. And so that goes to show you, when we read the book of Daniel, it says the Ancient of Days, meaning that God has no end. The Lord is immortal. He lives forever. Read on.
Verse 28, the children of thy servants shall continue, and their seed shall be established before
Right, because one generation will go out, and the children of thy servants will implant seed, which will continue the nation of Israel. Okay, that's why the nation of Israel will never be destroyed. You understand? There will always be servants of the Most High, because we will have children, and we will teach our children to serve the Most High. So we get the understanding of who was it that laid the foundations of the earth. It was the Most High himself, and the Word was with him. Okay, so go back to St. John chapter 1, verse 1.
St. John's 1 and 1.
Read.
And the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Right, so in the beginning, we get the understanding it was dealing with, in the time of Genesis, with creation. And it speaks of that God was with the Word, and the Word was God, meaning that the Word was a power. The Word was a God as well. So get Psalm chapter, matter of fact, give me Isaiah 40 and 20. 21, Salakia.
40 and 21.
Isaiah chapter 40, verse 21.
Isaiah chapter 40, verse 21.
Read on.
Have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Had it not been told you from the beginning? Have ye not understood from the foundations of the earth?
Right, so the prophet Isaiah even brings out that this was already foretold in the beginning, okay, concerning the creation. Read.
Verse 22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth.
So Isaiah basically brings it out that the Most High is the one that sitteth on the circle of the earth. So that cuts that madness that the white man teaches you concerning how Christopher Columbus came over here to the Americas, because Queen Isabel